Iron Age on WLJS Metal, here with Otep Shamaya, namesake of the band Otep. They're on their Destroy to Create tour. How's the tour going so far?
It's been remarkable. Maybe one of my favorites we've ever done.
And what's your best part? What's your favorite part, the best part about this tour so far?
I just think the excitement and the passion of the fans, that's been, something that I always look forward to in a great show is just their energy. We feed off their energy, and it's just been a lot of fun. Yeah.
You've used the Destroy to Create phrase in your lyrics before. What does Destroy to Create mean, and why did you decide to name this tour that?
Well, ancient alchemists knew that their pursuit was to find a way to convert illegitimate or unusable metals into something valuable, and that's what I think art kind of does. You destroy the topic or the subject of your particular piece, and then you recreate something from that. And got a lot quieter in here now. And then and that's really what we've been trying to do is you can't really control what happens to you in life and what life gives you. You can only control how you react to it. So it's to destroy the things that the obstacles in your way, and then use them to maybe build a way out.
Awesome. When did you feel and how did you know that you were going to use music as your means to express yourself?
The summer before we did Ozfest. That was about the time that I felt I never had even thought about doing music in the past, and I was a visual artist and a writer mostly, and just I went to a concert and saw this band, this really awful band, and they were being how rude they were to their fans, and they were drunk and they were sloppy on stage, and how unappreciative they seemed of having this particular moment, this opportunity to create art in front of all these people. And I thought, well, if these jackasses can do that, I can do that.
You don't want to tell us the name of the band?
I don't remember the name of the band. They're not around anymore. And so that was like the summer, and then by the fall, I'd scrounged together some musicians, and then by that next spring, we were signed to Capitol Records without a demo.
Sweet. What words of encouragement or advice would you have for those out there struggling to do the same thing you're doing right there, make their voices be heard?
I do it for the right reasons. Banksy recently put out a how-to on his particular brand of spray painting and stenciling art, but one of the guidelines that he put out was you don't create for fame. Create for the art of it. Create for the subject of it, the message, the meaning. Otherwise, it's like eating just to take a shit. So if you're creating solely for fame. And so I found that to be quite agreeable to me. I think you should create for a reason, not strictly for fame.
Nice analogy there. You're a proponent of animal and civil rights, as well as government and education reform. Mm-hmm. And you express all this in your lyrics and poems on your blog. What drives that desire to speak out like that?
I care about this country. I care about animals. I care about human beings. I care about equality. I care about justice. I don't think that I don't believe that we should be lazy and that we should be apathetic when we don't have to be. We're a country that says that a certain portion of the country believes that being gay is there's something wrong with you. It's unnatural. Meanwhile, they're sitting there, stuffing their face full of sugar and caffeine and all these unnatural things, and blowing up to weights that the human body was never supposed to be. They're trying to legislate morality according to their religious views, which of course are the foundation of our country was based on the freedom from religious persecution, freedom from religious viewpoints. In fact, James Madison, George Washington, all of these cats in all the founding fathers, as they like to say, had Thomas Jefferson. They all had they written specifically about keeping religion apart from government. So when you start to say that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness applies to all people except, well, if I'm excluded because I'm a gay person or because I'm a minority, then don't tax me the same because I don't have the same rights. Otherwise, I'm subsidizing your lifestyle. But I believe in equality. I don't think that it's the government's business to tell me who I should be able to fall in love with. What if they say that brunettes aren't allowed to date redheads, or that people with freckles aren't allowed to date people? I mean, we had that. It was called miscegenation laws, where we kept, the races apart, and how silly we think that is. I mean, there's an image that's going around on the internet right now, and it's Captain Kirk kissing Uhura from the the 60s, right? From that, and how big of a deal that was that a white guy was kissing a black girl on TV. Whoa. I mean, nowadays we look at that, it's like, that's ridiculous, and how embarrassing for those people that were so full of hate that they fought against it. And the same thing goes for animal rights. I don't believe that we should have an industry that raises living beings, thinking, feeling, emotional beings, just so that they can be killed for food. I don't believe that that's right, especially when we have the ability now to sustain ourselves, sustain our country, to sustain our health, the health of our citizens, by not eating meat, by not eating things that I mean, if you go to a chicken farm that's one of these corporate chicken farms, or even just one of these corporate farms where all they do is they raise animals just to be killed. The quality of life for that animal is horrible, and then you're eating that animal. And even what if that animal was a complete jerk? I mean, would you want to eat that animal? I mean, that's a very intimate thing there, eating someone else's flesh. But jokes aside, the fact that we raise animals just so that they can be slaughtered and killed, so that they can end up being a 99-cent hamburger, so you can eat it and then digest it and then excrete it out of your body an hour later, seems to me just a complete waste of life, and folks don't value, we should value life more than that.
Good points. What do you think is the biggest issue in the society, or what would you change about our society? Like, if you could change one thing. Yeah.
I would outlaw the Republican Party. What is now the Republican Party, or the Conservative Party, or the Teabag Party, all of that. I don't think they're legitimate in any fashion. Paul Ryan gave a speech last night that was just muddied with lies, outright lies, not even just simple bending of the truth, but particular lies. The GM plant that closed in his town, closed under the Bush administration. He said it closed under the Obama administration. That's a factual lie, and people check those facts before they go on to national TV in the Republican National Convention. They talk about how they want to end entitlement programs. Well, the convention center that they're holding their Republican National Convention in was built by government subsidies. That's an entitlement program. They're not talking about entitlement programs for corporations. They're talking about entitlement programs for the working people, for the poor, because if you're poor, that means you're lazy. That's what they think. When they're up there talking about they want to make wealth, they want to make wealth for their class of people. That is it. They want to make wealth for the wealthy. It makes more sense to be able to strangle the middle class, to strangle the working class people, and then siphon that money to the top, and have folks that'll do anything for money at the bottom. And then you can lower the minimum wage, you can take away health care, and a sick, uneducated, desperate, poor class, poverty class is exactly what they want. And that's not what this country's supposed to be about. I mean, that's not what I believe it's to be about. I mean, we're a nation of immigrants. They keep talking about immigrants. I mean, Rick Santorum said his father was born in Italy, wasn't born in America. Well, has anybody asked to see Rick Santorum's birth certificate? I mean, right? What's the difference? Because they've asked President Obama. Is it only because President Obama's father's from Kenya and this guy's father's from Italy? I mean, there's obviously a racist component to that. It's unbelievable. And the fact they keep talking about this immigration. Rand Paul, another moron, the son of Ron Paul, who's a complete fraud. This guy says he comes from immigrants and he can trace his family lineage back to Europe. Well, there's people in this country who can't do that. They were brought over on the Middle Passage as slaves. There are Native Americans. This country wasn't discovered. The Europeans fell into it. So when they talk about that immigrants and immigration, illegal immigration, well, I think that there's probably several tribes that greeted the Pilgrims and Columbus at the coast and are still waiting for us to show our green cards. I mean, it's an unbelievable position to take. We're a nation of immigrants. We're supposed to be the melting pot. What does it say at the base of the Statue of Liberty? It says, give me your tired, give me your huddled masses, yearning to be free. These are folks that are coming to America because of what we stand for: liberty, life, pursuit of happiness, all of that. So, that these are hypocrisies that we haven't seen in contemporary times, and we keep thinking that they'll go away because of like what we've gone through with slavery and segregation and the Native American, genocide and disavowing women the right to vote and all of that. We think, oh, well, things are going to get better. We're going to forget about those old ways. But there's always, a group of people who who are waiting for the opportunity to bring those things back. And another thing people are forgetting is that Mitt Romney is a Mormon. And the Republican Party had a hell of a time bringing up President Obama's religion, where they went from him being a black nationalist because he went to a black church in Chicago, even though he was raised in Hawaii. They love to bring up this whole Chicago thing. But nobody's bringing up Mitt Romney's religion. Mitt Romney's religion, Mormons aren't allowed to drink. Does that mean that there's another prohibition on the horizon? It's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past him. These are, unless he's got stock. See there, then he's kind of at war with himself with his religion versus his wealth, which I think is why he won't release his tax returns, because he's supposed to tithe 10% to his church, and he probably hasn't given 10% of his actual wealth, and he doesn't want the church to get mad at him.